Hey everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Tami. Tami is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. If you are a first-time entrepreneur business founder, there is no better place for you than our podcast. Bright Founders Talk and our guest speakers always have something insightful to tell you. Our today's guest speaker is Emma Steeley, who is CEO at Freedom Finance Ltd. Hello, Emma. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for having me today.
I feel like the best way to start is by introducing. So I have some kind of ice-breaking question. Who is Emma Steeley? You can even mention the fact that not so many people know.
Great, thank you. So hi everyone. I'm Emma Steeley, the CEO of Freedom Finance. So who am I? I am a wife, a mother, a friend, and a CEO that actually grew up dreaming of dancing and enjoyed a short period living in London with my best friend back in the early noughties where we were dancers for a bunch of sport teams. So I loved performing and look back so fondly on the time I had then to live my dream. But I then fell into financial services in 2006. And I spent a long time learning the consumer lending space and knew very much that as a young woman in the space, it was critical for me to understand the data and know my numbers if I was going to be taken seriously in the male-dominated environment. So I very much started my financial services career in consumer lending back in 2006. I was in a sales and marketing style role. We then went on to sell that business. I then went and took on a first managing director role, running another consumer lending business. Before I then really fell in the fintech space of open banking and started a business called Account Score. And that was very much about data analytics, a true fintech startup that we actually exited to Equifax back in February of 2021. So during the pandemic, that was a massive journey that was incredibly interesting and fulfilling for all of us. And then I joined Freedom Finance back in July last year as CEO to take their business to the next level.
Before jumping directly to the discussion of your company, Freedom Finance, what does your ordinary day as the CEO look like?
Well, it's definitely not a day of meetings about meetings and planning more meetings. As I said, I've been there since July and we have actually completely changed the strategy of the business. So we started a brand new strategy rollout in January of this year. So my time is very much focused on ensuring that we're actually shifting to be a product-led growth organization. And that is really also changing the culture of the organization as well. And so that takes time and reinforcement as well. So for me, it's about engaging with our staff, our partners that we work with, as well as our lenders on our lending panel, and the bit of focus on delivering personal credit solutions 24/7 for our customers. So, it's a super exciting time from Freedom, and I'm immensely proud to be a part of it.
What is the most crucial thing for you to be in a good mood all day? What is your daily motivation as a CEO?
Yeah, I mean, a good mood, apart from a cup of tea, an oat milk latte, and a good run in the morning. I like to know that I'm surrounded by a team of people that are open and wanting to execute. That we are, it's very important to me that we take decisions and that we have conviction in them while working alongside each other to continue to look to change the industry. So change is a big driver for me in and around motivation.
Sometimes people have to leave aside the work which they love to do, because being a CEO means having more communication, budgeting related tasks. What kind of work drives you the most? Did you have such tasks that you delegated, but which you didn't want to delegate because you love them to do?
Yeah, delegation is an important part of being a CEO, and certainly for the entrepreneurial spirits, it's very hard sometimes to let go and pass that task to someone else. But For me, I love to be focused on an execution of a strategy that delivers results. I was chatting with my team earlier on today, and we were talking. There's a quote that's attributed to Thomas Edison, and it says, "Vision without execution is just hallucination." So, I very much relish the opportunities I have to have a platform such as this one to be able to talk about areas that I passionately care about. But nothing drives me more than actually creating a strategy, implementing change, and seeing the results of that change. And sometimes you have to surround yourself with good people and take time to hire the right people. And sometimes those people are the ones that are actually going to challenge you the most as well. But there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a learning process that you go through whether you're doing a startup or whether you're doing a scale up, to be able to go, okay, I need the right people in the right roles. And you can't have the fear around delegation.
Okay, so you've already mentioned to time that really important to have a good team who surround you and support in your ideas. Do you have actually maybe some rules how to build a skill team whom you can trust?
I think that's a very I guess it's a very personal point, actually. When you are in a startup, you are all very much in it together. You're all working incredibly hard to deliver, even if it's an MVP of your solution in the first instance. But you have to have that clarity of your vision. So as long as you have the clarity of your vision, then you will find that by networking, and networking up as well as networking across and networking down, you will find the right people. Because what you don't necessarily need is to have a bunch of entrepreneurs working with you, but what you do need is people that have the right skills that will challenge when appropriate, whether that is on the technology front, on the data front, or on the operational front, but also that you are all working and striving towards the same end goal. You may get to it slightly differently, but if you know that you're working towards that end goal and the people believe in the end state that you want to get to, then that's a good thing.
So let's now concentrate on Freedom Finance. What the idea, the mission, and company culture. We are all ears. Get to know our viewers with Freedom Finance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, quite simply, we match customers to lenders by the deployment of data intelligence. So our mission, as I mentioned before, is about delivering personal credit solutions 24/7, so being always on. The data is widely available in the market, actually, but people aren't using it correctly. So, and then we have some unique data assets as well, which are immensely powerful. So for us, by using application form data, behavioral data, credit bureau data, and open banking data, we get a true picture of an individual. And then by working closely with our lending panel, we can provide that data and importantly, give the lenders the confidence to lend to those customers. And from a cultural perspective, I don't operate a hierarchical culture. Alongside my exco team, I am in the business working with the entire team. And I believe that by having an inclusive culture with a clear mission, that it helps to develop talent within the organizations, and that delivers improved outcomes for everyone. So, for our customers, for our team, for our shareholders, and so by working in that way, I have a strong belief that an inclusive culture is paramount.
Your goal is to make finance more accessible. So your app, your platform, are they really accessible to anyone? Or you have particular criteria for choosing both lenders and borrowers?
Yeah, I mean, as a digital marketplace, we are accessible to everyone. We have our direct consumer platform, Freedom Finance, but actually our growth strategy and objectives all come from our partners who we provide our marketplace to. So partners such as Asda, the supermarket, Very Group, TSB, Argos, Sainsbury's Bank, we are able to serve their customers where if they are a lender, and the customer may be outside of their risk appetite, we are able to provide that match to another lender so that customer can get the credit that they actually deserve, or working with platforms as their embedded finance solution so that we can provide those financial services solutions to their customer base. So it's a really lovely business that we are able to see, that we are able to offer our services right across this entire spectrum of the UK credit market. The criteria for being on our panel is actually, on our lending panel, is actually driven by data. So, if a customer is searching for credit, then we need to make sure that we have the right product to serve them. And it comes back to the data, right? I say data a lot, don't I? But the data provides the actions that we need to be able to take to ensure that we can do that. And at Freedom, we have the widest and broadest panel of lenders in the UK. And we're able to search personal loans, credit cards, homeowner loans and car finance from a single application form and deliver those results directly to the customer through our matching technology.
That this part, I mean checking whether lenders and borrowers match your criteria, that this part of the work is done by people or by technology, that it connected maybe with AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So from technology, we all know in order to scale as a business, you must use the technology that's available to you. And we constantly challenge ourselves on how we can deliver better outcomes for our customers. So machine learning and AI form a key part of that as we continue to grow. But I would also say that in the credit space, there is still also an importance and a reliance on rules-based technology as well. So as much as you always want to accelerate that use of AI, you can only at times work as fast as the lenders that you're working with can work to as well. So we're constantly innovating there, and we see it as a massive growth opportunity.
I mentioned artificial intelligence not by chance. This topic is now on everyone's lips. Do you believe that AI is crucial for fintech businesses nowadays? Can it be considered as a key to success?
Absolutely. It is becoming crucial because it's becoming mainstream. Everybody's talking about ChatGPT, right? No matter what they do or where they are. I have a 10-year-old daughter who looks at ChatGPT to try and sneak her homework in using it, right? So, it is definitely becoming mainstream. So it is going to be crucial. You can be sure that your competitors are already testing it. So even if it isn't fully embedded, if you haven't started to use it, you need to start. You can start small, but start soon. And I think there's probably a point of note that the financial services space in the UK is highly regulated. So explainable AI is key. And there is a journey that the regulator is going on now to understand and embrace AI. So you have the pace of technology will always be quicker than the regulator. But I think the messaging and the mood music there is extremely positive.
As we started to talk about the industry, let's touch on the trends topic. What are the top trends in the fintech industry you have noted for the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's a couple of key ones for me, really. I mean, the shift in customer experience has been huge. To me, the world is now very much consumer driven. And I think the pandemic has played a big part in that. The consumer now expects the slickest and quickest experience where they feel that they are in control. They like to feel in control and they like to feel safe. So for me, gone are the days of a market-led approach. deep diving now on consumer insights and the power within the data is what is delivering the most exciting shift in the market from my perspective. And then the other uplifting trend that I've really seen in the market is the appetite for collaboration. And that's been really from, the big FIs, the tier one banks here are now actively engaging with fintechs in the space. Mm-hmm. And that's been fantastic to see. And I had the joy of being sort of like part of that in one of the early waves when open banking launched in the UK, and partnering with HSBC as a tier one bank. And that exposure and that experience and how the banks and financial institutions are now embracing fintech, I think it is a really strong foundation for growth in the market.
What was your most significant challenge of being a CEO?
Yeah, and I think challenges change, right? So the challenges you face as a CEO of a startup versus a scale up are actually very different. In a startup, for me, it was very much about balancing cash flow and the focus on raising as much capital as you can whilst running the business, So on a startup, I think that for me was where we were. And then as a scale up, you have a clear directive to deliver scalable growth. That's what you're looking to do in a finite period of time. So actually probably one of the biggest challenges there is making sure that you're choosing the right opportunities at the right time.
Continuing this line of our conversation, how did you manage to fight with the difficulties, challenges, and problems?
Yeah, I mean, being a female leader in a male-dominated space can always bring additional difficulties, but it's absolutely a fight that's worth having, right? You need to also know that some fights cannot be won, and you have to have an acceptance of that. You cannot change every mind. You cannot win every single person over, and that's okay. So having that degree of acceptance that you cannot win every single battle is fine. But I think by having clarity on your vision and how you will achieve the results is what enables you to bring people with you on the journey. And I would caveat that though, because you also need to be surrounding yourself with people that will also challenge you. Mm-hmm. And not just agree with you. And I think that's immensely powerful. I'm obsessed with a ultra runner guy called David Goggins. He's an ex-military, writes fantastic books. And he talks about his foxhole and how within that, you need to have people that will push back to you as well and create that challenge. Because if you just surround yourself with people that are going to say yes to everything you say, you're not going to necessarily understand how to win some of those battles that you may face. So find your foxhole is advice on how you can help fight any kind of like problems and difficulties that you may face.
So you mentioned already some advices. What advice can you give to a first-time entrepreneur?
I think be your authentic self. It took me a long time to learn that. Take on board the feedback and challenges that are gifted to you, because it is a gift, and just do it. Listen to all the advice that you get, but choose what to act and importantly, what to not act on as well. There is never a perfect time to launch a business. But if you have a clear vision and you know your market, don't wait. Take the first steps now.
Amazing. Emma, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it.